Moving on, after arriving in Saddle Arabia, we get to the bulk of the conflict where the humor thrives, as the story takes every possible advantage to push the girls to the limits. They have little to no money and supplies, uncomfortable sleeping conditions, they're getting annoyed with each other, and their magic show performance utterly suffers in the process. The whole situation is just so entertaining, yet it's a relatable conflict. At some point, we've all been on some road trip with some pony that just drove us batty, leaving friendships tested, but in the end, through all the misadventures, we learn more about each other and come out as better friends. So again, overall, this is a realistic and relatable conflict.
Another interesting thing to note is that all of these little mishaps really do show that these two have no clue how to go on a proper road trip. There were so many avoidable occurrences in this episode. The wagon was too crowded to sleep in? Sleep outside under the stars. It's not like it was raining or anything, go enjoy the great outdoors. Couldn't make a reservation at the hotel because you were busy waiting in line for food? How about one of you wait in line while the other goes to reserve a hotel? Call it lazy writing if you want, but I call it a relatable instance of two ponies having no clue what they're doing.
I agree wholeheartedly, my good stallion. Now, before we get to the mayor's breakup, let's discuss their quote-unquote road trip buddy, Hufar. And it's here we get into the themes of the episode. Now, he's not just some superfluous character, he has a purpose, as he is the inciting incident for the girls taking the show to Saddle Arabia, and constantly wants to trade caravans with Trixie. Hufar and his caravan represent a balanced life, or balanced life transition. Trixie, on the other hoof, with her tiny wagon and overabundance of objects, can be seen as an allegory for obsession or even a hoarder. The wagon is her home. She collects tons of magical objects, most of which are nowhere seen in her magic show. And when confronted about her quote-unquote hoarding, she fears the change of losing it all. Even later, she's willing to disgrace herself to get the wagon back, desperate to get her lifestyle back. Now, for this next part, I'll admit I'm raging here, as this is just my interpretation, but I started to think about why Hufar wants her wagon, and quite simply, he wants a more balanced lifestyle. I know what I said earlier, but my point is, perhaps he realized that this caravan is too big for all his needs and wants a smaller, more convenient wagon. Seeing as he's a loner, has little in the way of possessions, he wants to make a logical life decision and downsize. Again, no real evidence to support this, it's just my personal interpretation of his character. Also, he's a likable, funny, sarcastic fellow who does give some witty but good advice. These are just some of the interesting themes and aspects of the episode that those who have gone through similar problems of obsession can see this as a relatable opus.
This whole thing ties back to the concept of Trixie being a single show pony for so long. Without one true friend in her life until Starlight came along, a lot of her sentimental value and memories are tied to specific objects that she's collected over the years. Of course, a lot of us know that objects are disposable while the memories that come with them are irreplaceable, but again, Trixie has been alone for most of her life, so it's understandable that she would adapt a bit to the hoarder lifestyle. As for Hufar, we get a personality that I have yet to see in an MLP character before. Pure, unfazed contentment. Every character we've seen in the show so far has had some kind of goal to achieve or problem to solve, but Hufar is such a stark contrast to these characters by already being as happy and mellow as a pony can be. This is a guy that has no major goals or wants and is just 100% content with his life. And believe it or not, there are people in the world that are like that. And not only is it very refreshing, but it's a hilarious comic foil for Starlight and Trixie, who have pretty much reached their breaking point by this part of the episode. Road to friendship? Yeah, try Road to Ruin.
Ha! Good one. Now we finally arrived to the most questionable element of the episode, Starlight trading Trixie's wagon. Obviously, she was in the wrong trading away something that wasn't her property in the first place. However, this is totally in character for her. Remember, we're talking about a mayor when she was evil, enslaved an entire town, and leading a cult of equality. But even after her redemption, we're still talking about a character who willingly dominated the minds of her friends just to avoid a friendship lesson. Starlight has always been the one for seeking the quickest solution rather than the right one, which bites her in the flank numerous times, as we've seen in the past few seasons, and even here in the latter half of the episode. She just saw the immediate solving of the comfort and room solution, but didn't think about the weight and more bulky nature of the wagon and how it would affect their travel, as she barely makes it out of all the hazards seen earlier in the song. A nice little lesson of thinking 3 steps ahead for every decision.
The only time I can see this twist not working is if Trixie explained the sentimentality of the wagon to Starlight at some point. But the only person she talks to about it is Hufar at the beginning. If Starlight knew how special the wagon was to her, I doubt she would have made the trade so sporadically. So if you combine Starlight's snap judgment decision making with the fact that Trixie never explained her connection to the wagon, it does make sense. I will say it does seem really cruel of Starlight to continue the heated argument when she clearly sees one of her friends distraught and in tears, but to be fair, very few arguments end in regretful realizations. Usually someone regrets their actions after the fight is over and then apologizes, while during the fight, it's all about just letting off steam and letting the emotions fly. So while it is hard to watch, it is somewhat realistic.
After their tour and misadventures in Saddle Arabia, the two reconcile, and the road to friendship in the end proved, successful-ish? Anyway, I'll go quickly into the ending moral encompassing the whole journey.
It is a lot harder than I thought. Still, I'm glad we tried. Mostly so we know not to do it again.
I think it's made our friendship greater and more powerful than ever.
Life is always about new experiences, and while some things may work out, other ventures may be complete and utter failures, but during those bad times, you come out with new knowledge that could help in future endeavors. In the end, Road to Friendship is a great fun episode. The conflict is relatable, the song is catchy, the themes and morals presented here were done well, and we got some decent character development for both Trixie and Starlight.
I've said it already and I'll say it again. Adorable. While this episode can get a little bit tedious with 60% of it being made up of arguing, it really does feel like a realistic road trip gone wrong at every turn. And the bonding between our magical dream team was just priceless. Throw in a fun new exotic setting and a refreshing one-shot character, and you have an episode that truly stands out from the rest this season.
Well, that certainly was a relaxing experience.
You can say that again. I should probably get back to the Secret Rift though.
I'll join you. I could use an extended vacation. Why don't you show me around?
You mean it? Hey, buddy road trip time!
You said it, pal. We're off to the rift that's secret. The stars are all shining so bright. It sure is awesome tonight, right?
It sure is! But whatever happened to your toolbox?
Found it.
You wanna settle for a sleepover instead?